In the grand scheme of everything that you can purchase as a performer, it can be a little overwhelming and a little frustrating when you end up spending a lot of money on equipment that you don't need. I've definitely been there and done that way too much. In-ears are definitely something that's a worthwhile investment of your hard-earned cash, whether you go out and buy just a generic model like a Shure 215 or step up to something like these T9s I'm going to be reviewing today, or all the way up to some crazy expensive custom molded in-ear system that you have to go to the audiologist and they get the molds of your ears. Either way, no matter what you end up going with, you're going to be able to hear yourself and the whole band much clearer and much more consistently, and that will take your performance to a next level. This video is going to be part of a 4-part video where I'm going to be doing a review on these T9s from Xvive. I'm also going to do a review on the Shure 215s, which were the ones that I bought in the beginning of COVID times. Then a set of Waves, molded, kind of custom molded ears, and then just an overall review and opinion of which ones I think are worth the money. So today we're going to be taking a look at these T9 dual drivers from the company called Xvive. In full disclosure, yes, they did send me these in-ears for free, but I will be completely honest in my opinions of how I think they sound and perform, so I'm not going to allow that to bias this video in any way. Let's talk about what you get in the box and sort of first impressions of this product. First things first, the packaging is very sort of Apple-esque. The box is well made. It has a very nice sort of texture to the feeling of the labeling, which gives it a feeling of a product that feels like it has some love and care put into it, that they actually care about this and they're trying to put a good first impression. Now, obviously, packaging doesn't really matter. It's what's in the box that matters the most, but as a first impressions go, I think it's a pretty good one. In the box, the headphone modules are in some shock-resistant foam to avoid damage during shipment. In the second portion of the box, you'll find the case for the ears with the headphone cable, 2 different packages of rubber tips of a whole bunch of different sizes, as well as a cleaning tool and a 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch adapter. So these ears are dual driver and they have a custom crossover designed by Xvive. The frequency response of these ears cover 20 Hz down low all the way up to 16.5 kHz in the top end. So let's talk about how they sound, because ultimately that is the thing that obviously matters the most. Unfortunately, obviously there's no way I can demonstrate what the headphones actually sound like, so I guess you'll just have to trust me and believe me. For comparison, I shot these out against the Shure 215s, a pair of custom molded Waves 6-driver ears, a set of KRK headphones, and a pair of just generic Apple earbuds. The first thing that stuck out to me about these T9s is the top and low end is incredible how much either bass response you're getting or how much top end you're hearing. Especially going from something like obviously the Apple earbuds or the Shure 215s to the dual driver T9s, the amount of top end clarity is really incredible. You can sort of hear your way into the mix, hear all sorts of detail, especially if it's like background percussion instruments or the way maybe vocals are double tracked and layered in the background. A huge difference in the low and the high end on the T9s. Unfortunately, that's where I ran into a little bit of a problem with the T9s for what I do. I'm a metal musician. I write progressive metal or gent metal, and that style of music, just guitar in general, but also that style of music, guitar is a very mid-frequency instrument. The mids are usually forward, and the T9s have this big carve in the mid-frequencies. So anytime I was listening to either just metal in general or my favorite bands, my favorite mixes that are guitar driven, or when I was teaching in my ears or trying to track or use these ears, I was getting a very inaccurate representation of what the mids were doing. Now, I think I can say it was inaccurate because, again, I'm comparing it against a wide range of different headphones, not just the Shure 215s, and I also do have a pair of Adam A7X reference speakers that I use to mix on, and the mid frequencies are just very inaccurately represented in the T9s. I actually thought the Shure 215s, while they don't have the same top or low end, that the overall frequency response was more even and more usable for what I do. That said, I did find the T9s to be great listening to other genres of music. So I listened to them with some, kind of more modern pop music, something like Bruno Mars records, or the new thing he's doing with Anderson .Paak, some Dr. Dre. So other genres of music that aren't guitar driven, right? Where the guitar isn't the primary featured instrument. I did really like the T9s. They sound very nice. Oddly enough, I found the headphones worked really great for gaming as well. So I think it depends on the genre of music, and it depends on the kind of artist that you are. So let's talk about just the fit and feel and what these headphones are like to actually wear. The overall feeling of wearing these ears are that they're very light. The actual ear modules and then the cable that it comes with is really light, which makes it comfortable to wear for a long period of time. You'd be surprised how much of a difference a little bit of weight will actually make. I wear my in-ears when I teach and when I track and when I practice. At the end of like a 6-hour long day teaching, that headphone cable can start to get really irritating. Like the Shure 215s, the cable is actually pretty heavy, and so is the modules themselves, and it definitely starts to become irritating after a while. The Xvive T9s are much lighter, both the modules themselves and the cable itself, and it's much more comfortable to wear, especially for extended periods of time. I think it's worthwhile to point out that it's not a custom molded in-ear, it is a generic size, so if you're looking for something that's going to fit and be very flush against your ear, this is definitely not going to be it. The right side is a little bit better in there for me. Apparently my ear canal, or my ear hole on my left ear, is a little bit smaller. Now obviously you could fine tune that. There's different ear tips that they come with, so I would probably should be wearing a smaller one on this ear to get it to kind of fit a little bit more flush. But either way, they're not going to be something like you would get if you went to the audiologist and actually got a mold where it'd be like perfectly flat along your ear. They are going to stick out a bit. Now they are clear, so I think it doesn't look kind of silly or ridiculous to wear, performing or on stage. And like I said, they are very light, they are very comfortable. Compared to the Shures, it's definitely a vast improvement in comfort. Now the connection point for the ears to the cable is a little bit different. It just has these 2 pins that plug in. That's different than the Shure ones, which kind of snap in. The good thing is that these headphone cables are replaceable, so if you did have some sort of a problem, you'd be able to replace them. And sort of speaking of problems, the first pair of ears that Xvive sent me actually were wrong. Something was wrong with them where I wasn't hearing the stereo image correctly. I couldn't really explain it, but like everything was in mono when it should have been stereo. Reached out to them, just let them know, like, hey, something's weird with the ears, no problem. They gave me a return packaging slip and got me a fresh set out. So these are the second pair that I've had, and these work great right out of the box. So I think as far as like customer support goes, that's a major vote of confidence from my part. They definitely were very interested in getting it taken care of right away. And obviously, stuff happens. They could have been damaged during shipment despite being packaged in that nice sort of shock-resistant foam. Who knows what happens or what happened to them along the way. Either way, the second pair showed up and they worked great right away. Okay, so let's talk about the verdict, about my opinion of whether I think you should check out the T9s. Ultimately, I think it just comes down to what kind of an artist you are and how you'll be using these. If you're a guitar player, I would actually recommend you to look elsewhere. I think because of that big mid-scoop in the middle, it makes their response a little bit unbalanced for what we really do and what we really need to be represented in our in-ears. Now, if you're like a bass player, I think the ears are fantastic because they've got so much low end, such great bass response, and with this sort of natural mid-scoop, it really lets you hear the bass very clear in every mix. So if you were a bass player, I definitely would highly recommend them. If you were an artist of a different genre and were looking to step up over the widely used but not disliked Shure 215s, these are competitively priced and do undercut the price of the Shure dual driver nicely, so you'd save a little bit of money, and I do think that they would be an upgrade over the 215s. If you were an R&B singer or a soul singer, or just anything that isn't guitar driven, basically, I think they would work pretty well. I do think they are a well-made product. They're definitely seems to be some care really put into them, both reflected, I think, in the packaging. Again, I know that doesn't really matter, but also just in the overall fit and finish of the ears themselves. I definitely think that they're roadworthy, and, you know, might be a good idea to have an extra cable on hand in case the headphone cable breaks, but, you know, overall, I definitely think they're a well-made product. So thanks for watching this video. If you found it helpful and insightful, you know, go ahead, leave a like, leave a comment down below, give the channel a sub. I'd appreciate the support, or not, you know, whatever. It's YouTube, everybody's gotta beg for the support. Here on my channel, I focus on gear reviews in general, a lot of guitar reviews, so if you're liking that kind of thing, you know, maybe think about giving it a sub.